thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. Welcome back to another edition of World History According to the Bible. I'm Shamaria, and to my left,
Awaria.
the young king joins us again.
Khan.
And tonight, we're going to be going over Samson, one of the judges of Israel during the time of the judges and in the book of Judges. We're going to start off at Judges chapter 13 and verse 1.
The book of Judges, chapter 13 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years.
So we're going to be doing a lot of reading tonight. 13 through 17, pretty much all of it's pertinent information to Samson's life. Unfortunately, starting off on the note that it said the children of Israel did evil, but not just evil, evil again in the sight of the Lord. The time of the judges, just like the time of the apostles, we see a lot of parallels because we are the people of the book, right? Everybody was doing their own thing, whatever was clever, as they say, right? They did evil again in the sight of the Lord and were delivered into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife was barren, and bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman, and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren, and bearest not. But thou shalt conceive, and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
So an angel goes to Samson's mother, right? And is giving her instructions because even before Samson is born, she's going to, for the duration of her pregnancy, take on that same level of separation, right? She didn't do the nothing from a vine and things of that nature, but he said, look, be careful. Don't keep drinking and, don't eat anything unclean. You're going to bear a son, and he's going to be a Nazarite. No razor is supposed to come upon his head the entirety of his life, right? Go ahead.
Verse 6, and then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came to me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God. Very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name.
Mm-hmm.
But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God, from the womb to the day of his death.
Go ahead.
Then Manoah entreated the Lord, and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we should do unto the child that shall be born.
So his wife goes and she's not sure who this man is. She just knows he's a man of the Lord because he came and prophesied unto her. And he had this real intense countenance, this like fear inducing countenance about him. And so Manoah, he goes and he prays. He says, well, Lord, he wasn't there to actually witness it. He says, whoever this man was, can you send him again? So he wants to see and observe and figure out what's going on. Go ahead.
Verse 9, and God hearkened to the voice of Manoah.
Uh-huh.
And the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman made haste and ran, and showed her husband, and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me, that came unto me the other day.
Go ahead.
And Manoah arose, and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, Art thou the man that speakest unto the woman? And he said, I am.
Mm-hmm.
And Manoah said, Now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware.
Mm-hmm.
She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe.
So Manoah's prayer is answered, right? He prays to the Most High, whoever that was that you sent to my wife, please allow him to appear again. And it comes to pass while she's in a field, that man appears. So she runs and gets her husband. Look, the guy I was telling you about, he's back. This time, her husband goes with her, and they both see him. Then he asks, and, they're having a conversation. Now he gives her the instructions. Your son is going to be a Nazirite even before he's born. Even before he actually comes out from the womb, his mother is going to take on the same diet and the same manner of a Nazirite, minus the actual shaving of her head, so that even from his conception, this child is going to be observing his vow of being a Nazirite. She's not allowed to eat anything that comes from a vine, just like a Nazirite. She can't make herself unclean or eat anything unclean, just like a Nazirite, right? Go ahead.
Verse 15, And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee, until we shall have made ready a kid for thee.
Mm-hmm.
And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread. And if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? That when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret?
So, it was our custom. Our people have always been hospitable, right? They're talking to this man, understanding, they're still trying to understand the gravity of the nature of this man. They know that he appeared. They know that he was sent to give them a message. And now they're saying, okay, well, just stay with us a little while. Let us make you a meal. And he's like, nah, even if you want me to stay here with you, I'm not going to eat. And they're still trying to inquire to basically figure him out. Like, who are you? Where did you come from? So they're asking him his name. And they said, so, when the prophecy that you've given us ends up happening, we can give you credit, right? And so he was like, nah. First of all, if you're going to offer an offering, offer it to the Lord. And he said, man, why are you asking me my name? Clearly, I'm not telling you my name for a reason. It's a secret. I can't give that to you, right? Go ahead.
Verse 19, So Manoah took a kid, or baby goat, with a meat offering, and offered it upon a rock unto the Lord. And the angel did wondrously. And Manoah and his wife looked on.
Mm-hmm.
For it came to pass, when the flame went up towards heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended into the flame of the altar.
Uh-huh.
And Manoah and his wife looked on it, and fell on their faces to the ground.
So now they realize, okay, this was an angel. He wouldn't give us his name. He wouldn't eat. And then he literally ascends with the fire of the offering that they made up into the sky and disappears. So they fell on their faces because they're like, man, who is this? What was that? You know, what we getting this sign, we got a message, we were told to make an offering. Like, it's an amazing thing, right? Go ahead.
Verse 21. But the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. The Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord.
Because I'm pretty sure, our people, like, we want that connection with the Most High. We want to understand mysteries. When it said he was doing wondrously, the things that he was able to do, even the fact that he was able to ascend up, they were amazed. So I'm pretty sure they were inquiring, seeing if he would come down another time, seeing if he would, if they would be able to converse again with him. But he wasn't going to return, right? They got the answers that first they were given a prophecy. Then when they requested that he come back, he did come back and they got the answers they were looking for. Now they have the proof, this is a supernatural being. We don't know his name, but he has this real intense countenance and he's not a man. But now he's not going to return, right? Go ahead.
Verse 22. And Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die, because we have seen God.
And that's why he's not coming back, right? Our people in general, right? Keep in mind, we're not talking about a technological age. This is a phenomenon beyond what your average person would have seen in their lifetime, especially during these times, right? This was an incredible thing. And they were also, within a sense, struggling not to worship him. That's why he was like, I'm not even going to tell you my name, because this might mess around and become an issue or a stumbling block at some point. You see a man that can fly, or a man that descends up into the heavens. You don't need to know too much about him, because the more that you know, the more that you're going to inquire or celebrate. Because that's even what the Father said. Well, tell us your name so we can celebrate or, give you credit. He said, nah, do that to the Lord, because that's who he was sent from, right? It says...
Verse 22.
So that was another thing. So when he sees this happen, Manoah was terrified. He's like, oh my God, that must have been the Most High. That must have been God. We're going to die, right? Go ahead.
Verse 23. But his wife said unto him, if the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands. Neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would, as at this time, have told us such things as these.
So his wife spoke some wisdom. And she said, well, even though that was mind-boggling and to a degree terrifying, she said, hold on, babe, that don't really make a lot of sense. If the Lord wanted to kill us, why would he have shown us these things? If he was going to, first she said, why would he have received this offering? They saw the fire ascend. They saw the angel go with it. So they was like, okay, well, we saw that he accepted this offering. If he wanted to kill us, he could have just killed us. Why would he accept our offering? Why would he send this angel, not once, but twice, to speak to us and converse with us? And why would he have given us this prophecy and revealed this amazing thing to us if that was his intentions? So in the fascination and a level of fear of seeing this man, she's like, hold on, this doesn't make a lot of sense. So now they're kind of putting things into perspective. Okay, well, that was an angel. What he told us to do, we need to make sure that we do it. We need to make sure that we observe what he said, because he gave us this prophecy of what's going to happen. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And the woman bare a son, and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. Mm-hmm. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move him at times in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol.
Yeah, and Samson was a Danite, right? So Samson is born, he begins to grow, and he's favored by the Lord. Let's pick it up at chapter 14 and verse 1.
Chapter 14 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Mm-hmm. And he came up and told his father and his mother, and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife.
Go ahead.
Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?
Uh-huh.
And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well.
So this is the first example of we get, right? So Samson, your average Israelite is already a degree of holy, already a degree of separated to the Lord, right? But Samson, being a Nazarite and being a Nazarite from his birth, he's even more separated and consecrated than what you would consider your average Israelite. The Philistines have been notorious enemies of the Israelites since, since Israel himself, right? They've been our rivals for the most part throughout our history. And so when Samson is coming to his mother and his father, and he's saying that he is desiring this Philistine woman, this is not good news. Not only this is one of the nations named specifically for us to not marry to give our sons or our daughters, right? And again, we've had this history of war and beef with this people. So the first thing they said, okay, look, we get there might not be a woman within the tribe of Dan that you desire, but they said there's not one woman in all of Israel, all of the other tribes that are available to you. At least if she's not going to be a Danite, she's still an Israelite. There's no woman that you finding out there that is catching your eye that's of your people. But Samson is still desiring this Philistine. Even after his parents are trying to convince him, he's like, nah, I want to do what I want to do, and this is what I want. Go ahead.
Verse 4. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord, that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. Mm-hmm. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
And there was something going on behind the scenes outside of man. This was the Lord seeing an opportunity to utilize Samson with the relationships that he was going to kindle and the things he was going to be doing with the Philistines. Because remember what we read in 13 and 1, the Philistines were ruling over Israel for this 40-year span. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath. And behold, a young lion roared against him. Mm-hmm. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. Mm-hmm. And he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done.
So Samson is starting to discover that he has serious power, right? Not just, oh man, average man could jump 3 feet or, 6 feet. You can jump 12 or 9. Samson, in his travels, in his adventures, comes across a lion with nothing in his hands and was able to grab this lion and rip it apart easily, right? Not a sword, not a knife, not he cut in the right spot and he was real skilled, just raw strength, right? He was able to rip this lion apart. And I'm pretty sure, because nowhere in the scriptures thus far have they said what type of man he would be or what type of abilities he would have. He's discovering for the first time, oh, for lack of better words, I've got super strength. He doesn't tell his mother, he doesn't tell his father. He just kind of goes home, he plays it casual and makes it seem like nothing happened, right? Go ahead.
Verse 7, and he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And
Samson he already got his mind made up that he wants this Philistine woman. So he's already going and talking to her, and he's excited to, how. Go ahead.
Verse 8, and after a time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. Mm-hmm. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating. And came to his father and mother, and he gave them, and they did eat. But he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. Uh-huh. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young man to do. Uh-huh. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him.
So first, Samson kills this lion, right? Which, that's something that he had to do. Even though a Nazarite can't eat anything that's unclean, which, that's the standard for Israelites, period. A Nazarite has to go even further because they're not to make themselves unclean, right? even if it's for a funeral, a Nazarite is not supposed to, touch the dead body, touch the sepulcher, touch the coffin. Nazarites, they have to be separate. They have to live a different lifestyle than your average Israelite, right? So that's the first thing. Samson sees that this carcass of a lion, which he remembers killing, is now full of honey and full of bees. That would have made that honey not for him to eat. It would have made that honey unclean because it's being produced in this carcass. But he takes this honey, he's eating it, and then he gives it to his mother and his father, and he's not telling anyone where it came from. Go ahead.
Verse 12, and Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare with me within the 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. Mm-hmm. But if ye cannot declare it me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. Mm-hmm. And they said unto him, put forth thy riddle, that we may hear it. And he said unto them, out of the either came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness, and they could not in 3 days expound the riddle.
So, they're hanging out, right? Samson, he's got his friends, everybody's hanging out, they having a good time. They're going to feast for 7 days. They made it the decision amongst themselves. We just going to chill. Young men coming together, they having a good time. Samson might not be drinking, but they might. And so he issues a riddle. All right, let bet. I bet I have a riddle that you can't figure out, even if I gave you a week. A week? Man, I can figure it out in a week. All right, how about this? Bet 30 change of garments and 30 sheets. If you can get it in 7 days, I'll give y'all 30 change of garments and 30 sheets. And if you can't, then you owe me. All right, let's do it. 3 days, they coming together. It's 30 of them. They trying to figure out what this riddle could be. And for 3 days, they're stumped. Now, they about at the halfway mark for the week. They trying to figure this out. Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have? Is it not so?
So these, it seems like they're Philistines. These men, they go to his wife. Right? So they went past Samson, they go to his wife. And then they didn't just say, oh, we'll split it or whatever. They're threatening her, saying, look, you need to entice your husband and get the answer to this riddle because we think that you set us up. Why did you knew we was going to be here with Samson. I'm pretty sure I bet y'all planned that riddle, huh? Y'all probably planned that riddle because y'all trying to take what we have. And that's your husband. Why did you pick me? Why did you pick the rest of us? Y'all must have some type of plan so you can get our goods. So they saying, look, ain't no more talking. Either you get the answer to that riddle or we going to burn you alive and your father's house. So now the stakes are high, right? Go ahead.
Verse 16, and Samson's wife wept before him and said, Thou doest but hate me, and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, Behold, I have not told it my father nor my mother. And shall I tell it to thee? And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him.
And so she's pleading, right? You had Samson having a good time. He's supposed to be having a week of just chilling and relaxing and hanging with his friends, and they eating good. They probably got bonfires and they just enjoying themselves, right? They dwelling. Even though these are Philistines, he's developed a relationship at this point. And so his wife, for the duration of the feast, is just killing his vibe. Oh, you don't really love me if you won't tell me. You must not really love me. If you love me, you would tell me. I know you hate me, huh? I know. She probably throwing at every opportunity she has at him. So for 7 days, even when he's in a good mood, that's in the back of his mind. Or maybe when he comes home after hanging out, that's the first thing she says. Early in the morning, that's the thing she says. What you want for breakfast? Oh, just give me a couple eggs. I'll make it even though you hate me. For For 7 days, she's doing this and pestering him. Tell me this riddle. And he like, look, I ain't even told my mom or my dad yet. Like, you think I'm going to tell you and you are a Philistine? She said, oh, and that's how you also know these dudes were Philistines. It says the children of my people. Mind you, his wife is a Philistine. He like, I ain't even told my mom and my dad, but you want me to tell you and them your people? Like, that's a conflict of interest. I haven't told anybody the answer to this riddle. Go ahead.
Verse 17, she lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the people of Israel, to the children of her people, Salakia. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day, before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?
Hold on. So he ends up, he like, all right, maybe he trusts her. Maybe he's just tired of hearing, oh, you don't love me, you don't love me. He like, all right, look, he gives her the answer. And so they wait a little while, right? But the 7th day, right before the sun is going down, right before they were about to owe him, they probably bid their time. It was only on the 3rd day that they went and pressed her for the answer. And only if, maybe within that 3rd day, 4th day, 5th day, whenever it is that they told her, they held the answer for a little while. So it wouldn't be too obvious that that's where it came from, right? They're making it seem like they thought of it. She told them day 4, early day 5, and they hold it. Another day, all right, here go day 7. Well, what's sweeter than honey? It's stronger than the lion, right? They make it seem like they just came up with it or they figured it out. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, if ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle.
So basically, he like, oh, y'all went to her, and basically you backdoored me with that. Y'all went around me, that went to my wife and got my wife to beg me for the answer. Then you got her to go around me again and give it to y'all?
Deceitful.
Right, deceit, total deceit. So he already knew the game. Like, man, you wouldn't have figured that out. Because remember, from the time that Samson had killed that lion and the time that the honey was being produced in the carcass of the lion, Samson never told anybody about that experience. He was literally the only person on earth that knew the answer to his riddle because that was a unique experience to what he actually lived. So he like, man, it ain't no way y'all came up with that riddle. That's impossible. I didn't tell my mother and my father that I had killed that lion, and I didn't tell my mother and my father that I got honey out the carcass of that lion. So he said, okay, I know what y'all did. Surely. Go ahead.
Verse 19, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil, and gave change of garments unto them which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. So
Samson went and killed some of the men of Ashkelon and got the change of garments and the sheets so that he could pay the Philistines. And then he went and back up to his father's house. Go ahead.
Verse 20. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as his friend.
And then they take his wife, right? It was actually her father, which we're about to read, but it was her father who ends up, for whatever reason, probably because he just killed a bunch of the men of Ashkelon, they took the wife that he was already with and they gave her to one of his old friends, which is pretty messed up, right? Go ahead. Chapter 15, verse 1.
The book of Judges, chapter 15 and verse 1. But it came to pass within a while after, in the time of wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife with a kid, and he said, I will go to my wife into the chamber. But her father would not suffer him to go in. And her father said, I verily thought that thou hadst utterly hated her. Therefore I gave her to thy companion. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of her.
So when when they said goes to his father's house, obviously his father being an Israelite and his wife being a Philistine, they're not living in close. I mean, they're living maybe, days apart, but they're not like next door neighbors. Because again, the Philistines and Israelites, we were always at war and we had a real hatred for each other at this point, right? So he goes and he travels to his own country, back to his father's house, And after a little while goes by, he spends time amongst his own people, and he's like, all right, I miss my wife, right? And it said he was gonna go with her into the chamber, right? So he gets back to his wife, and her father's like, nah, I can't let you in. So he's like, man, what's up with this? What you mean you can't let me in and see my own wife? He's like, well, because she gave you, or gave us the answer to that riddle, and then you just left. Man, I thought you hated her. I thought you wasn't coming back. You didn't say anything, so I gave her to your friend. And that's where she is. And then he said, well, how about this, right? That's pretty messed up. I didn't know what was going on, but, we have this relationship. You still they still close to some degree. So he said, how about this? She has a younger sister, and isn't her younger sister prettier than her anyway? Just take her younger sister. Go ahead.
Verse 3, and Samson said concerning them, now I should be more blameless than the Philistines, though I do them a displeasure.
And Samson said, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm about to get some get back. And he said, because what y'all have done, I'm still going to be more blameless than you, even though I'm about to do something crazy. Well, not crazy, but I'm about to do something like, he's about to show a wonder, basically. Go ahead.
Verse 4, and Samson went and caught 300 foxes and took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst of between two tails.
Is that not insane? Samson, as a response, he don't just go and burn the field. He went and first caught 300 foxes. Then he's taking them two at a time and tying them together and lighting something and their tails on fire. And both the foxes, they're tied together at the tail, so they finna be running, trying to get away from each other and trying to get away from the fire. They're gonna pull each other back and forth over and over again and just light a whole bunch of stuff on fire. And he did that with 150 sets of foxes. Go ahead.
Verse 5, and when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines, and burnt up both the shocks and also the standing corn, with the vineyards and olives. Then the Philistines said, who hath done this? And they answered, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timonite, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire.
So those foxes did a lot of damage. They didn't just get the fields. It says they got the standing corn, the vineyards, and the olives. Basically, pretty much everything that was in proximity of where Samson was releasing these foxes, everything was burnt up. And that was a lot of food, right? So now they're trying to investigate. Dang, what happened? Like, we see these fox corpses and look like they tied together. They figure it out. They said, well, who did this? They figure out it was Samson, but he's the son-in-law of somebody. So they go and they take his ex-father-in-law and his ex-wife, and they burn them with fire. Go ahead.
Verse 7, and Samson said unto them, though ye have done this, yet will I be avenged of you. And after that, I will cease.
So Samson said, first, I let these foxes go because my father-in-law took my wife and gave her to somebody else. He said, but now y'all done killed, his ex-wife and his father-in-law, or ex-father-in-law. He said, okay, so now I got to get y'all back for that. Go ahead.
And he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter. And he went down and dwelt in the top of the rock, Etam.
So Samson went in and put in work. When it says hip and thigh, you ever seen Invincible? No? Man, so the Viltrumites, they're like a super strong race. Basically, they're so powerful that they're able to just kill people with their hands. They could just, and they chopping people in half. Samson, because he has this strength, right? He goes in and he kills a whole bunch of people. And then he goes and he rests at the top of the rock Etam. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah, and spread themselves in Lehi. And the men of Judah said, why are ye come up against us? And they answered, to bind Samson are we come up, to do to him as he hath done to us.
So the Philistines, obviously that's an act of war. A whole bunch of their crops are burned, a whole bunch of their people were killed. And that was, even after the 30 men were killed for the garments. So now they spread themselves out around Israel, specifically around Judah, and they come and they're like, oh, what's going on? war for what? They said, look, Samson just did a whole lot of damage in our land. We come in to get him. Now, if you stand in our way or not, it'll be war if you stand in our way, but this is who we're here for. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Then 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock Etam and said to Samson, knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers over us? What is this that thou hast done unto us? And he said unto them, as they did unto me, so have I done unto them.
So now I think people are starting to grasp the severity of Samson's strength, right? Because again, he went and he committed a great slaughter. So the Philistines are hearing about that, and then they give the report to the men of Judah. They're like, hold on, this one dude, he killed how many? Hey, like, oh, all right, hold on, we're gonna go talk to him. They didn't just send a couple of men or a couple of elders. They sent 3,000 men. And they going to talk to Samson. And you know there was probably mixed conversation amongst the men as they're going up. Man, why are we 3,000 deep? We going to talk to one dude. You don't know who that one dude is? Man, that's Samson. Man, you know what I'm saying? They probably having conversation like, do you know who Samson is? His fame is starting to grow and his notoriety is increasing. So they go and they talk to him and they say, man, you know we in captivity right now. Why are you doing this? Why did you go down there and do that? He said, look, I only got them back for what they did to me. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And they said unto him, we are come down to bind thee, that we may deliver thee into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said unto them, swear unto me that ye will not fall upon me yourselves. And they spake unto him, saying, no, but we will bind thee fast, and deliver thee into their hand. But surely we will not kill thee. And they bound him with 2 new cords, and brought him up from the rock.
So they understand he's strong, but the limitations aren't understood, because they wrapped him in some rope. That would be enough for your average man. And when they come up to meet him, and they said, look, the Philistines are here for you. It's easier for us to just give up just you. So we need to turn you over, and that should be that. Samson said, okay, I'll go willingly. Just promise me you're not going to try and kill me yourselves. They said, no, man, we really just need to get you up out of here because it's about to be war on a wide scale over one guy. He said, all right, cool. Go ahead, tie me up. I'll go with you. And he did. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and when he came into Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his bands loosed from off of his hands. So
as he's going and he's being turned over, right, there's an exchange, and the Philistines are getting riled up. They probably shouting, just like Goliath did with David. They shouting in the names of their guys. They barking at them and talking crazy. And Samson's walking across, but the Spirit of the Lord comes upon him, and he's able to just rip the ropes off of him, right? Go ahead.
And he found a new jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hand, and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith.
And so Samson is looking around, and he finds the jawbone of an ass. He grabs that, and while they're all out there shouting against him and talking and, all that, he started whacking people. 1,000 men he's able to kill with just this bone. Mind you, they was coming up ready for war. You don't think they had shields? You don't think they had swords? You don't think they had spears, maybe even chariots? These are not just your average guys. They were preparing for battle. These are soldiers. And he's able to kill 1,000 of them with a single bone. Go ahead.
And Samson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass, I have slain 1,000 men.
So he said, after he gets done, he's looking at this field of corpses. And they're stacked on top of each other. He said, man, heaps upon heaps. There's 1,000. I killed 1,000 of them. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand, and called that place Rameth-lehi.
Uh-huh.
And he was sore athirst, and called on the Lord, and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance into the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die for thirst, and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised?
So, you know, when we see like superhero movies and all that type of stuff, it's based off of instances like this. Samson goes out there, he kills 1,000 soldiers, not just any old men. These are soldiers with a bone. Then he's talking to himself like, damn, it's heaps of them on top of each other, just bodies stacked up. And he throws the bone, and he like, all right. Then he's like, damn, I'm thirsty as all get out. So he prays to the Lord. He said, man, you know, I just did this. I'm your servant. Can I get some water? Go ahead.
Verse 19, but the Lord of hosts clave an hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water thereout. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived. Wherefore he called the name thereof An-Hakkori, or An-Hakkor, either way, which is in Lehi unto this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years.
Because remember, he's a judge, right? So it's not like there's some immediate thing. Couldn't nobody stand against Samson? And both Israel and the Philistines are like, man, what type of dude is this? He just wiped out, and then, you know, basically a small army, probably a big army, because 1,000 men, ain't no telling how many of the Philistines there were at that time, but that was no small feat. They were prepared to do whatever they had to do to get Samson out of Israel. So I'm pretty sure there were at least enough of them to be a reasonable assault against the city, right? And he goes on, even after these events, to judge Israel for 20 years. Let's pick it up at 16:1.
The book of Judges, chapter 16, and verse 1. Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there a harlot, and went in unto her.
So that's where we have to, you know, we can't, what they say, romanticize too much of what's happening. Just because it's in the Bible doesn't mean it was right, right? We've seen a number of times where there were violations from, I mean, obviously he had to kill the lion. If the lion was going to kill him, he became unclean from that. But that's not the same as a lot of the other stuff that he did willingly, where he had the time to make a decision and just chose wrong. Samson has made himself unclean by eating honey out of the carcass. Samson has taken a wife of the Philistines, which is an enemy of Israel. Samson killed a bunch of men, first because just to get their garments and stuff like that to give to the Philistines. And then everything else was war that was clearly an occasion of the Lord to slaughter Israel's enemies. But the harlot had nothing to do with the occasion, right? That's just how Samson was moving. He saw a harlot that he was attracted to, and keep in mind, he's a Nazirite. An average, and I don't want to say average Israelite, but every Israelite is not permitted to sleep with a harlot, right? That's in the law. But Samson went being a judge and goes and sleeps with this harlot. Go ahead.
Verse 2, and it was told to the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city. And were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city and the 2 posts, and went away with them, bar and all.
Bar and all. So after Samson lies with this harlot, right, the men hear about it. Man, wait a minute, Samson, the Israelite Samson? They're like, oh man, this is our opportunity. He done did what he did with that harlot. He in there sleep, right? He kicking back. They Everybody was quiet. Let's just set up around everywhere where that harlot's house is or whatever she is to do what she do. And they said, when he get up in the morning, because he probably think, it's sweet. He just going to walk out of there. We going to ambush him, and we're going to kill Samson. So Samson was asleep, and at midnight, he gets up. He goes to the gate of the city, tears off the entire gate. Now, mind you, perspective. This is the gate of the city that's supposed to stop sieges. This is the gate of the city that's supposed to stop chariots and likely battle rams, right? This is the gate of the city that's a very vulnerable position tactically that has to be reinforced and must be extremely heavy. And Samson goes and tears the entire door off the wall of the city with the bar to actually lock it, and he carries the gate away out of the city. Go ahead.
Bar and all.
Uh-huh.
And put them upon his shoulders and carried them up to the top of a hill that is before Hebron.
So they already knew who he was, and they already knew how much work he put in. But I think this really started, unless there were other instances that aren't in Scripture, this was for sure, everyone knows there's something different. Not just the fact that he was able to kill so many men and he had that level of stamina and that level of strength to swing that jawbone that hard. Because mind you, again, these were soldiers. I'm pretty sure that they had helmets of some degree, whether they were leather, whether they were iron, silver. He cracking them through the helmets. He hitting through shields with a bone. So that's already incredible. But now they come out and they look, they like, damn, this the gate that took however many men to move. They usually had mechanisms and pulley systems and things like that, but they like, it's gone. Carries that up, and then he carries it uphill and goes and rests somewhere. Go ahead.
Verse 4, and it came to pass afterward that he loved the woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah.
Uh-huh.
And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee, every one of us, 1,100 pieces of silver. Mm-hmm. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee.
So for one, Samson, he once again desires a woman, and if the lords of the Philistines are coming to her, this woman's not an Israelite, right? These men didn't infiltrate Israel to get to an Israelite woman that's back at home. They're going to a Philistine woman because Delilah's a Philistine, and for whatever reason, Samson has this affinity for these Philistine women, right? And so they make her an offer. Originally with the last one, they threatened to burn her, but they said, look, what is it? 7 of them? They said, well, each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver. We're going to make you extravagantly rich, but we need you to figure out how he's so strong and what it is that has given him this strength. And she goes and asks him, how may you be bound up to be afflicted? Which is an insane question, not only for a wife, but in a relationship in general. Tell me your weakness. That's surely a red flag. Go ahead.
Verse 7, and Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 greenwiths that were never dried, then shall I be weak, and be as another man. Mm-hmm. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 greenwiths, which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the withs, and a thread of tow is broken when it toucheth the fire. So his strength was not known.
So people, everyone's starting to realize, okay, this is supernatural, right? There's something beyond normal men. So this sounds believable. Take some withs and, they've never been dry, tie me up. She tries it. The Philistines are in the chamber with her. This has been long set up. She's like, oh my God, Samson, wake up, they're here. And it says not only did they break, it says what did it say?
It says, hold on.
What verse we at?
I think verse 12. Verse 12. Delilah therefore took.
No.
No. My
9.
bad.
It says as a
Verse
thread
9. As
of
a thread
tow.
of tow.
So mind you, not just a thread of tow, because any man, even children, if you tie a piece of thread a couple times around their wrist, they can snap it, right? For sure, though, a grown man easily. But it said thread as if it touches a fire. It was like they just fell apart. It was no resistance at all because of how powerful he was. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound.
Uh-huh.
And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man.
So mind you, this is her second time. First of all, the first time would have been enough. Tell me, what's your weakness? For what? What do you, of all things, you want to know what makes me weak and what makes me vulnerable like everybody else. That's the first thing. And that's wild for his wife to be asking him this. Mind you, she's not even an Israelite. Then she tries it. The Philistines was here, but I know he woke up and was like, wait, hold on. Now, that didn't really give me a lot of resistance. That gave me no resistance. And I see these Philistines in the room with us. They might have climbed in through the window or through the floor or whatever. But who tied me up? Okay, they probably got in how they got in, but who tied me up? And why am I tied up? Is this withs? Are these wet withs? You tied me up with the very thing I told you was going to make me weak. He must have known from that point, oh, she's trying to kill me. He knows. But yet, she asks again. And Samson is just mystified, right? He hasn't been doing great with his choice of women thus far. And he's back in a bind again with his choice of woman. So she asks him again, come on, man, how can I tie you up? Which, again, I don't know what this looked like in the moment. Because, I think that if somebody asked you that in a relationship, most people would be like, all right, I got to get away from you, or, I'm going to have some real limited dealings because the very thing I told you was around my wrist the night that my enemies tried to kill me. But she tries again, and he gives her another answer, albeit false. All right, you want to know? She's going to keep asking. If you take some fresh ropes that have never tied up anything else, you tie me up with them, I'll be weak just like everybody else, or just like other men. You can, I'm whoever's for the taking, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liers in wait, abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread.
And once again, all right, there's Philistines in our bedroom. Never mind how they got there. Is this fresh rope? Who? You tried twice to get me killed? But for whatever reason, Samson's not breaking away from her. Keep in mind, his last wife, he left. Out of frustration from this riddle, he went back to his father's house in his land for at least a season, for what was months, right? It was way later during the harvest. So we're talking like Pentecost time, summertime. It was a while that he was away from his wife. before he returned, only to find that she'd been given to somebody else. And maybe that was his fear, right? Maybe he's concerned that this woman who he really wants is going to leave or is going to end up being given to somebody else, or she's going to die. I don't know if he's sticking around to protect her. I don't know what's going through Samson's mind. But I know he can see at this point, this woman is trying to kill me. And this is the second time that you've asked me what's going to make me weak, which is already major. But then this is the second time that you've tried. But for whatever reason, he doesn't say, all right, that's it. I'm going home for a season. Or, you know what? I'm going home and you need to come with. He doesn't remove himself, right? He's still in a place where the Philistines can get to him. And he still has this woman that's trying diligently to find his weakness. Now, maybe these attempts were months apart, right? But even still, she tried to kill you once. Now she's tried twice. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
And Delilah said unto Samson, Hitherto thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, If thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web.
Mm-hmm.
And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awaked out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web.
So she's asking a third time. And Samson, well, I will give him that, right? He's at least, he's intelligent enough to be like, okay, for one, I'm not going to give you my real weakness. And then two, he sees that she's trying, and so he keeps just giving her something to go off of. But he sees it at this point. He hasn't given it to her for real, for real. They try a third time. The Philistines are on you. The Philistines are here. He gets up. He goes, all right, well, time to go shed some Philistine blood. He got up with the weaver's beam still in his hair, and he still had his strength. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thy heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast told me wherein thy great strength lieth.
So the same thing that first wife was doing, this wife is doing. Delilah is doing. And, well, if you really loved me, well, how can you say you love me? How can you? And go ahead, read the next verse.
Verse 16. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death.
So she nagged, basically. Nagged him so bad, it said that his soul was vexed unto death. And he was so drained by his, mind you, this is his wife, right? By Delilah's words, that he's just like, to the point where he like, man, it said his soul was vexed unto death. Basically, like, man, it's a bitter, how do I even describe this? He was vexed horribly. He's sick and tired of hearing that. She's hearing it every day. She probably done upped the ante multiple times. She's just pestering him with this every opportunity she has. And he's so fed up with the stuff that she's saying that he actually tells her. Go ahead.
Verse 17. That he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon mine head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb.
Mm-hmm.
If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man.
So finally, he was so vexed, it was to a point where not only was he vexed unto death, he was like, man, I'm so tired of this, I might as well actually die. And he doesn't leave. He doesn't take her with him. He tells her the truth, knowing that this woman has tried 3 times already to kill him for real and to set him up. Let's go to Proverbs 7 and 26.
The book of Proverbs, yeah. The book of Proverbs, chapter 7 and verse 26. For she hath cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her.
Talking about that woman, right? Not just any woman. Talking about that wicked woman, and specifically talking about the woman that had, is the harlot. Let's go back. But the whole excuse me, there it is. But the whole thing is, Samson, though he was incredibly physically powerful, the wisdom, his mind, it was able to be overtaken by the woman. As much as he knew, like common sense, everybody could read this story, and what do they say? Ray Charles could have seen that, right? You gave her 3 different things that you told her would be detrimental to you, and every single time she's tried to exercise utilizing those things to get an advantage over you and to get her people to kill you.
Khan, that's evil.
Which is evil. But again, what do you really expect from a Philistine? And this is the second Philistine wife that he's had.
Khan.
And not even mentioning the harlot that so there was an occasion that the Lord sought against the Philistines, but Samson himself, he wasn't living right. And so these women are coming along and they're able to take advantage, and they're able to, that was his kryptonite for Samson. That was his kryptonite. Going against many enemies, that didn't shake him. Going against thousands, that didn't shake him. But Samson continued to get into trouble because of the women that he was desiring, because of the just this inability to let the Philistines especially go. Because had this been Israelite women, it would have been a totally different situation. They wouldn't have been trying to, destroy, hopefully, they wouldn't have been trying to destroy him and sell, especially not to no Philistines. Maybe they would have done something to him within Israel. That's way different than what you're going to get when you fall into the hands of the heathen. But he wasn't even interested in Israelite women. Every wife that he's had has been a heathen. And the harlot he slept with was, it don't say what nationality she was. It don't say if she was of Israel, but she was in Gaza, right? But that's been Samson's downfall, right? So Samson is now, his wife is bugging him. She just pleading with him. Mind you, she's selling him out for some money. Cold-blooded, wicked. She looking for all these riches, and she talking it. Now, mind you, she convincing him, you don't really love me. You don't love me. You finna sell me out to get rich, right? But eventually she vexes him so bad that he look, you really, really, really want to know, and I know he had to have known she's going to exercise this power, right? Because he's telling her. And, once he tells her, he's not going to be able to take that back, right? Scriptures talk about don't teach him an evil lesson, right? Go ahead.
Verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he hath showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hands.
So that was what she was after. It wasn't about the time that she spent with Samson. It wasn't about the years that they spent, or however long they spent together. She was about that money. And she sold him out for some riches. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him.
Uh-huh.
And she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself. and he was not that the Lord was departed from him.
So, Samson doesn't drink wine, so it's not like she can get him drunk and he's super relaxed because he's got a whole bunch of alcohol or liquor in his system. She puts his head on her lap and massages and caresses him to sleep and caused him to go into a deep sleep so that he doesn't notice there's a man that's entered their house that's shaving off his hair. Cold. Then, because his hair is shaved, this man presumably leaves or rejoins the ranks of the soldiers waiting to kill Samson. And she tells him, "Oh, Samson, wake up. These Philistines are here." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm going to just get up and do what I do. I done this however many times, right?" But he didn't know that this time the Lord was gone because he broke his vow. There's a number of ways that he did it, but once he really shaved off that hair, that's when the Lord was like, "All right, that's it. Go ahead."
Verse 21, but the Philistines took him and put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. Howbeit, the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven.
So the Philistines took him, plucked his eyes out, ouch, right? Put him in a prison, and they have like this. It almost looks like the steering wheel of a ship at the helm of a ship, right? It's like a wheel with these knobs on it that they either had animals or they would have prisoners just walking in a circle to grind mill or whatever it is that they wanted to grind. And Samson was in there doing that for so long that his hair started to grow back, right? Go ahead.
Verse 23, then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon, their god, and to rejoice, for they said, our God hath delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hand.
So Bishop Sizaiwan was just talking about that, right, with Thanksgiving. These other nations, the feast that we know, or rather the feast that is promoted in the world, these are feasts of our enemies' victories. They're coming together to rejoice and to celebrate an idol. This is not a real God. This God has no power, and it's not even a God to begin with. This is an idol that they've created, that they prescribe emotions and desires and thoughts to, and they're celebrating, oh, our idol has given us the victory over Samson, and they're having a what? They're having a feast. They're feasting about it. Go ahead.
Verse 24.
Yes.
And when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may take us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars.
So they're celebrating, and of course, they got their biggest enemy at this point. Because, yeah, Israel as a whole was an enemy, but nobody was able to put in the work that Samson was able to put in. And nobody was troubling the Philistines the way that Samson was troubling the Philistines during his lifetime, right? And it wasn't like he needed the armies of Israel to go with him. The Lord was with him so much because he was a Nazirite even from the womb that he was able to be a one-man army. He was able to put the Philistines into so much trouble solo. So they want to do the extra. They want to go the extra mile. They're already having a feast. They've already plucked his eyes out. They've already made him a slave every day of his life. And they still said, man, go get Samson. Bring him up here. I want to see him and let him be entertainment. They like really doing it up, right? Go ahead.
Verse 26. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full with men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there, and there were upon the roof about 1,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport.
So Samson, while he's there, right, because they put him in chains, and now the chains work. Now he's just like any other man. He put in brass chains. He can't free himself. And so there was someone that was there holding him, or that was there by him, and he said, "Look, man, I can't see. Let me just at least lean on the pillar. Like, come on, they got me working down there all day and night. I can't see. I've been grinding in the mill. And they bringing me up here to mock me. Just tell me where the pillar is." And so the young man was like, "Oh, the pillar's right here. Look, you can feel the pillar." He's like, "Okay, cool." And then he does what? Go ahead.
And Samson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, O God, that I may at once avenge of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And
So Samson prays, right? Samson takes that chance and he says, "Look, Lord, just this one time, give me my strength back." Because he can hear all the voices. He can't see the magnitude. Because mind you, this wasn't just a house. This must have been a temple. What house do you know can fit 3,000 people, right? This is a massive building that they're in, being held up by massive pillars. And they're celebrating their deity, and, they're celebrating their idol and all that. Samson fills the pillars and he starts praying to the Most High. He said, "Look, let me just get them back one last time. They did me wrong. These are your enemies." He said, "Just give me my strength one more time." 29.
Verse 29. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. And Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell up on the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the burying place of Manoah, his father, and he judged Israel 20 years.
So the Lord hears him and gives him that strength one last time, and Samson pushes with all his might, and he's able to bring down that entire temple. And it said, not only was he able to bring it down, but mind you, there were 3,000 people on the roof. The roof usually isn't the prominent and biggest space where people are able to gather, right? That's just an addition to whoever it is that's in the room and on the ground. Plus, there was a lower level that Samson actually was at, right? He's able to bring down this whole thing. In so much that the great slaughter that he did when they took it and killed his wife and his ex-wife and ex-father-in-law, the great slaughter that he committed when he killed 1,000 men, says nothing compares to how many of the Philistines he was able to bring down at the very end of his life. And it wasn't like these are just your everyday average Philistines. These are the lords of the Philistines, the prominent people, the movers and shakers, the wealthy. He toppled their society, or at least destroyed the upper echelon members of their society, and killed more people in that one act than he did the whole rest of his life. So, all praise to the Most High, Israel. That is the story of Samson. Most High willing, this has been edifying and interesting. I like to try and consider some of the ins and outs or some of the smaller things, because we know that the scriptures are abridged. And I like to think about what these days or these moments would have looked like, to hopefully bring some perspective and some fascination to the lesson. So Most High willing, that's what we did tonight. All praises.
All praises to the Most High.
Con. Please continue to tune in with us, Israel. We have class continuing for the rest of the week. The next one will be on Friday. Join us for Blue Strip at 5:30 our time, followed by Room 144 and Deconstruction at 9:45. Shalom.
Shalom.